I actually once had a dream about Dave Franco where he like came up to me crying and he was like covering his teeth. And I was like, Dave, what's wrong? And he was like, help me, help, this old lady, she's stealing my teeth. And then I woke up. So honestly, I have no idea what that was about. If any of you are dream analysts, what are they? Analysts. If any of you are dream analysts, please let me know what that means, because I had that dream about 5 years ago and it still haunts me to this day. Like, he was distraught. Hello, it's me again. And this one, we still exist. Teddy Teddy. It's been ages. I've been pretty pants at posting on here on my Instagram. So today I'm going to be reviewing a new Netflix film called, I say new, it's been out about a month now I think, called Six Balloons. I actually saw a trailer for this film on Instagram, but that's the only place I saw it. Honestly, I think this film has flown under a lot of people's radars, and it would have definitely flown under mine if it hadn't been for that one like 60-second clip I saw. Basically, the film follows a girl called Katie who travels across the city to find a detox centre for her heroin addict brother. And actually I was really pleasantly surprised by this film. When I say pleasantly surprised, I didn't mean like it was one that I could just sit back and be like, oh, this is such a fun film. It was actually really hard to watch. Being a film about addiction, I really wasn't expecting a walk in the park. Oh, I better not say that too loud or someone might get excited. I wasn't expecting an easy ride. Due to like the lack of marketing I've seen for this film at all, I really didn't know what approach it was going to take. And basically, it was quite an intense approach. Six Balloons is a film that plays really heavily on your senses. And being a film about addiction, you'd kind of expect that to come from Seth's point of view. The highs and lows of the addict and sort of the horror that entails. But what I really liked about this film is that it was actually from the point of view of his sister Katie, and her sort of anxieties and stress are what's played on in this film. There's actually a really interesting commentary from, it's like a voiceover from an audiobook she's listening to. As she's becoming increasingly overwhelmed, the audiobook mirrors that. So it's saying things like, oh, you feel like you're drowning. You feel that as a viewer. Your viewing experience almost mirrors her sort of complete lack of control, and you really relate to her for it. You really feel for her, and every decision she makes, you can understand why she did it, even if it's a bad choice. You completely get it, and that's what I think is really important in a film like this, is to build that sort of relationship between viewer and character, and that's definitely what happens. What I thought was really, really clever about this film is that the score and the cinematography combined really well to create this drowning effect that is spoken about in the audiobook voiceover. So the technical elements do come together to make you feel like you're drowning. There's constant bubbling sounds, the way the camera's tilted. It's really well crafted, this film, and I think that's where its main effect lies. I really love the construction of this film as a whole. As I've already mentioned, the score and cinematography sort of work to create a drowning effect, but it's the parallels of the storyline that really hones in on the devastation of addiction. Basically, you've got this upbeat party where everyone's having a great time, and then you've got the other side where it's this dark car, it's at night, it's at seedy parts of town. Not only have you got the parallel between the party and the car ride, you've also got this sort of juxtaposition of Seth at his lowest and at his highest, and the way in which he interacts with his daughter. And that's probably what's saddest about this film, is seeing a dad that is only good at being a dad when he's on heroin. It's absolutely horrific to see a young innocent child in that sort of situation. Bless, the little actor's performance was brilliant, and the things she would say, her lines, really hit home with you, saying things like, I want to go home, I don't like it here. You're like, oh my god, like, no child should be in this position. I think what's really important about this film is that it doesn't in any way glorify what he's doing. You find yourself cringing, you can't believe what you're seeing, but you completely understand his desperation. In the same sort of vein, I think Dave Franco's performance in this was incredible. He was really believable, and it was a very intense performance from him. A few seagulls out there, weren't there, Ralph? What was that about? This is a really good role for him. It is quite shocking to see him in such a state, really, and he does give a great performance. However, what I will say is that the real star of the show is Abbi Jacobson. Her performance is much more nuanced, it's more subtle, and like I say, it really builds into this whole drowning effect. You could feel that for her, like she's completely out of her comfort zone in a place she would never be, because she cares for her brother and she loves her brother. And I think for anyone that has siblings that they're close to, I think that's really going to hit home. Like, I'm close with all my brothers, none of them are heroin addicts, thank God, thank you Rose, but I can see her struggle, because at the end of the day, no matter what he's doing, he's her brother. I think even alongside Franco, who I would say is definitely more well known than Abbi Jacobson, I hadn't actually heard of her before this role, she really holds her own. She's brilliant, and I think she definitely carries the film emotionally. The only real downside I would say about this film is that it's only an hour and 15 minutes long, and whilst in that hour and 15 minutes a lot of stuff happens and emotionally you get dragged about left, right and centre, with even a 15-minute extension we could have seen more from some of the other characters. The focus on the sister was really great, and I think the focus needs to remain on her, but I would have loved to have seen more from the mum and dad, especially as the mum is played by Jane Kaczmarek. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. In Malcolm in the Middle, she plays sort of an overbearing mother, and in this film, the brief sort of glimpses we get of her, she is a very similar character, but I would have loved to have seen where her son's addiction took her emotionally, as well as her daughter, and her husband too would have been great. But I mean, that's the only real improvement I could say for the film. I think it was really emotionally wearing and really did highlight the devastation of addiction. I would 100% recommend this film. At an hour and 15 minutes, what have you got to lose? Like, head over to Netflix, go and check it out. Let me know what you think. Have you already seen it? If you have, please comment or message me on Instagram. On my Letterboxd, I gave it 4 out of 5. I'll put all my links to my Letterboxd, my Instagram, my Twitter, all the social medias down below. So if you want to see any more from me, please go and check those out. And yeah, goodbye. Thanks for watching. Alfie says thanks too, don't you, Alf? He does.